Greetings, everyone. This is Sister Crystal here with Let's Talk Classic Hip Hop, back with another review of Growing Up Hip Hop, Season 4, Episode 8, Straight Out of Rehab, and let's get to it. Also, just wanted to give a disclaimer for the ones, if this is your first time listening. When I do reviews, I don't go straight in the order in which it appeared on TV. I just give you the relevant points of the story, and so I jump around and stuff like that. So I'm starting with Vanessa. She threw a going away party for Krista Nia, as revealed in a previous episode. Krista Nia is going to move away. She's going to Las Vegas, and she's going to have some kind of residency for a little while to perform and everything. And she's about to meet a cousin named Kendall Ferguson. And Kendall is the daughter of DeBarge, which is Krista Nia's uncle, which is the brother of James DeBarge, who is Krista Nia's father. Okay. So I made those connections. Now, I just want to say, okay, so DeBarge, on a side note, DeBarge has 12 children by 5 different women. 3 of them he married, and I believe Mrs. Ferguson, little Kendall Ferguson's mom. As I was doing some research to try to give you guys a little backstory on some of this stuff, I saw the last name Ferguson. I forgot the first name of her mother, but she was listed as one of the women that DeBarge had actually married. So at one point, DeBarge was actually married to Kendall's mom, but somehow, whatever, life happened and they got separated, and he didn't see her for a long time. But on another side note, I actually had, before I get to the side note. Okay, so Kendall was sharing with Krista Nia that the way she met her father, I guess she was really young when her mother and father split up. So the way she met her father when she was older was through a meet and greet. Now, her father I'm talking about is DeBarge. And so she pretty much said she just went to the meet and greet, heard where he was going to be, and she walked up to him and told him that she was his daughter. And, that was it. I can imagine how, I don't know if it was an awkward feeling. It might have been an awkward feeling for both of them, but, hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But on a side note, I actually almost got a chance to meet DeBarge at a meet and greet at one of his concerts, or I think it was right before one of his concerts. And he seems to be a very appreciative of his fans. Now, at the time, we were in a department store. I forgot what department store it was, but he was doing a meet and greet and signing autographs and all that. And he actually stayed over like 10 or 15 minutes longer than his people wanted him to, because DeBarge wanted to take the time out and meet with as many fans as he could. And I was like almost right there, but they took him away. And so all I managed to get was like a little fuzzy picture. I tried to take a picture real quick as they was whisking him away. But if you've ever been to one of DeBarge's concerts, you would know why he has 12 children. I mean, it's no surprise. The way he performs, he sings and performs as if you are the only woman in the room that he's singing to. Like, he can be in a stadium, it could be 50,000 other women in there, but the way DeBarge performs, he performs as if he's just singing just for you. So, and I don't think it's an act. I know he's a performer and they sing and all that kind of stuff, but you have to really have some smooth moves in order to, you have that many children with that many women, and I can kind of see how he ended up having a whole lot of children, because he's I guess just the ladies' man, for lack of a better way to put it. But no, but he's just a really, it's a great experience. If you have ever been to a El DeBarge concert, it's really a treat. And he talks to his audience and sings, and he really makes you feel like it's just an intimate moment, even though it's like 50,000 or more people in the stadium. He just makes it feel like just, he's only singing for you. So that's what I really like about him. So I had to throw that out there. So, okay. So, after the party, Vanessa threw, Egypt, and TT was there. Vanessa was there, and they all met Kendall. And Kendall, she seems like she's a very beautiful young lady. She sings and everything too. So I guess she's a name to look out for. So I really hope this means that we might see more of her in upcoming episodes of Growing Up Hip Hop, whether it's this season or maybe next season. I don't know how many more seasons they have of the show, but either way, they need to bring some fresh new blood in, because the children that they got on there already, they're pretty, but they're pretty uneventful. And who else I could think of? Okay, so Boogie, so he's out of rehab now, and he went and he has what you call a pop-up shop, and that seemed to be something kind of new that's spreading around the country. I guess what a pop-up shop is you just rent a space temporarily, and you bring your merchandise there, and you get the word out about, hey, you have your merchandise in a certain spot, and people come and, purchase from wherever you at, but it's a temporary spot. It seems almost like vending, like those people that vend on the street, except it's inside a building. So Boogie had his pop-up shop, and he did that instead of going to the guys camping trip that Master P had set up. And Romeo really wanted him to come to kind of reconnect with him, and I guess talk to him about his experiences and rehab and all that kind of stuff. But Tyran was there too, Little Easy E, and it was another young man there. I didn't know who he was at the guys trip. But what was interesting about the guys trip is they showed you the tents, and they showed you the inside of the tent. Now the inside of the tent, it had a full bed and everything. When you think of camping, I would think of, what do you call those? Sleeping bags. You would have a sleeping bag. You would have flashlights, stuff like that. This camping, I guess this is camping of the rich and famous, because I didn't see not Nan's sleeping bag. They had a full size bed, and even they had it looked like a little outhouse, but it had a porcelain toilet in there and a sink, like it has like running water. So I've never seen any kind of camping, like that. I guess, I don't know, maybe it's not the real camping or what have you. And they had a nice looks like a gas grill or whatever that they was able to do some grilling on and all that. But okay, so during the camping trip, you see Master P and Tyran. Master P took Tyran aside to kind of talk to him a little bit, about him and his mom, and he pretty much was kind of, vouching for Pep, and saying that she's a good person and she loves him, and all of that. And of course, Tyran knows that, but they had some other issues that they had to deal with and all that. But all in all, it seemed like it was a good little experience for him to bond with some of the other guys. I didn't mention JoJo, so JoJo was there too. So I'm really hoping in these next seasons or episodes, they're gonna bring in JoJo, Little Easy E, Kendall. I don't know who else. Who they just need some new blood to just keep it interesting and everything. Okay, so that was the camping trip, and what's the next thing? Oh yeah, okay. So at the pop-up shop. All right. So Brianna comes in and she uses that time to tell Boogie that she's single. So I guess that she thought that this is the time that she could just let Boogie know, she likes him and all that. And it seemed to go over his head. He's just like, huh? I didn't think that that was a good time for her to try to, tell him that she's single and that she was interested in, dating him or whatever, because it just kind of went over his head. She tried it, she tried to shoot her shot um, there, but it didn't seem to really go over. I mean, he was nice about it, but it was like, I don't think that's the right time to try to, let him know that you're single and available or whatever she was doing. Okay. And so I guess the main thing was, okay, so in the beginning, it opens up with Master P stopping by Pep's house, and Pep was talking to Master P about her son and was trying to get some, I guess some advice from him on, how what to do with her and her son to try to get closer or what have you. And Master P, the advice he gave her, it was, I don't know if it was advice, but he, the first thing he asked her was like, well, what kind of men did you have around him growing up? And Pep was like, well, me, I'm the man, or something like that. But I guess the way Master P was framing it, it was almost like Tyran is not a grown man, like he's a boy. But I guess he was trying to work it backwards, like, okay, did he have men in his life growing up? And so Pep, she goes way back to when she was pregnant. So she told him about the story about when she was pregnant with Tyran, and that, her and his father broke up. And I was kind of surprised that she took it back there, because, she took it back to when he was a fetus, which says to me, I don't know if that still was like really hurtful. The fact that, real talk, that when she was pregnant, that her son's father just left her and went with somebody else. And in fact, I think the son's father didn't even show up to the hospital when she had him. So I'm kind of getting the feeling that maybe being around her son is just bringing up a lot of these feelings that she is too afraid to really tap into, to kind of get through it. I remember in real time, because I'm a big Salt and Pepper fan and I'm old enough to remember. I remember when it was announced that she was pregnant. And one thing about the music business back then, when women got pregnant, if they were at the beginning of their careers, especially if they were at the beginning of their careers, it almost signaled the end of their career, because oftentimes women were encouraged to terminate their pregnancies. And so, like an example, like the Girls of Escape with Candy Burris, you had Tamika Scott, Tamika Cottle, and what's her name? Tasha Scott. Well, I think it was Tamika Scott. She got pregnant right at the height of Escape's success. And it was reported that the management was asking her, they was going to kick her out the group for getting pregnant. And, back then it really wasn't much support for, if you were a woman and you was in the entertainment business and you end up pregnant. It was almost like, okay, well, either you're going to keep your baby or you're going to lose your career. If you keep your baby, you lose your career. And it's sad, because a lot of women go through that today, even, so-called regular women with regular jobs. I mean, how many times have you heard of a woman being afraid that she'll be fired because she got pregnant? Or women that are afraid to go on maternity leave because they believe that their job will be given away to someone else just because they got pregnant. And so in the music business, women were regularly in fear of losing their career for getting pregnant because you'd have to take some time off to have your baby, which, unlike guys, because guys don't get pregnant. Well, anyway, the one thing with Pep was, well, she came up from a 2-family home. Her mother and father were both married. And when she got pregnant, she wanted the same. So she wanted to be married and have a family. And the guy she was with, I guess he wasn't thinking that far out or whatever. And also it could be because maybe of the age difference. Pep has always said she likes younger men. So this guy was younger than her, and she was young too, but this guy, his father, is younger than her. So maybe he just wasn't thinking that far out, like really wanting to be settled down and having a family, but she did. And it was really tough, but Pep, she did what she could to take care of her baby and still keep her career. And sometimes you kind of sacrifice that time with your children because of that. But, she provided a life for him that he wouldn't have otherwise had. Well, I said all that to say, we fast forward to they had a family therapy session. And it was all 4 of them at first. And then the therapist told them to leave the room, and she interviewed them each individually. And then and so after that, then Tyran comes back. So you see a scene where it's Tyran and Pep. And Tyran tells the story of, like, when he was growing up, how he would want her to come to his plays and stuff like that. And she would show up dressed like Pep, instead of dressed like his mom, Sandra. Like, that's her real name. So he was telling her, like, he really hated when she would show up dressed all sexy and all that, because it would give a lot of attention, and she would just draw a whole lot of attention to herself. And he just wanted just his regular mom. And it was sad when he was explaining, like, he gave examples of, children trying to fight him. And he's talking about when he was in elementary school, kids would try to fight him and they would try to take advantage of him and everything over his mom. And I'm thinking maybe it was probably because they might have been, jealous because of who his mom was, and that she was just so flamboyant and out there. But her response was kind of sad too, because, me hearing it, I'm like, oh my God, that's horrible that, he was going through that. But with Pep, it looked like she was just waiting for him to be quiet so that she could talk. And it really didn't seem like she was really listening to what he was saying. And at one point she even said, like, well, will you act like you love other people more than you love me? And Tyran, he didn't deny it. But I'm thinking, okay, if she felt that way, then she's the parent. It's on her to try to figure out what's going on with her son, that she feels that he loves other people more than her. Now, one thing it seems like Pep keeps harping on, which, that's fine, is that she provided a life for him. I know in a previous episode, she would say, like, oh, I gave Tyran everything. I give him everything, and it wasn't enough. But I'm thinking that she's thinking in terms of material things, and he's thinking in terms of quality time, spending time together, and that he sees that she gives quality time to Egypt, but she doesn't give the same quality time to him. And I get the sense that maybe Pep feels that because he's a boy and because he's older, that maybe, he doesn't need as much attention as the daughter. I'm not exactly sure, but it ends the show ends with them hugging it out and everything. And and towards the end, after he said what he'd been through, she was like, "Oh, okay, I get it. I get it. I'm sorry." But I had a feeling that she really didn't get it. Maybe she was just, I had a feeling that it was painful for her to hear him say that, and she just wanted the conversation to end. So instead of just saying, okay, let's just stop talking, she just quickly like, "Oh yeah, okay, I get it. I get it. I'm sorry." Almost, I don't want to say it. It almost felt like, okay, be quiet. Even though she didn't say that, it just felt like, I really didn't think that she got it that quick. Like, we understand that you gave a life for your son, and she sacrificed a lot. But, listening to him, he really is saying he wants his mom. And instead of getting mom, he's getting Pep, which that's part of her too. But he just wants a regular mom. And so, well, and it kind of ended on that note. So, but yeah, so that's it. This is Sister Crystal with Let's Talk Classic Hip Hop. And like, comment, subscribe. And until next time, take care.